Yeah, we are in a bad place right now, but our presidents before that promised us that they were taking care of us. They put us in this situation. So how do we get people to believe that Donald Trump, RFK, are not wolves in sheep's clothing?
Well, a couple things. First of all, your ultimate trust should be in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Right? And so that he is on the throne, Donald Trump is not. I'm not trying to put Donald Trump on a throne. I'm trying to put him in a temporary four-year position where I think he can assemble the best team to advance the biblical worldview that we care about. I will say that when Donald Trump was president, he did so many good things, and some things I think he could have done better at. But three things that I think fulfill the biblical mandate of what we should care about. Blessed are the peacemakers.
Amen.
Fighting for those who can't fight for themselves, such as children and the unborn. And finally, sovereignty or borders, which is a biblical idea. So let's take one of those at a time. And these are not speculation. He delivered on these three things that every Christian should care about. Number one, blessed are the peacemakers. I'm 31 years old now. For the last 32 years, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, there's only been 4 years where there's been no new wars, and that was Donald Trump. We had peace in the Middle East and the Abraham Accords of Donald Trump brokering peace between Israel, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Anyone who knows anything about the region, that's a remarkable accomplishment to get those kind of actors together. Putin did not invade Ukraine when Donald Trump was president. Trump was the peace president. We had less civilians dying, less refugees, less war-related casualties than any time in the last 32 years. The only 4 years that was not the case. Bill Clinton mercilessly bombed the Balkan Peninsula in Serbia and Bosnia. We obviously know Bush invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. Obama started coup d'etats in Libya and Syria in the Arab Spring. Peace for Trump, and then under Biden we had Israel, Palestinian conflict, and of course Russia and Ukraine. So that's number one as Christians. We should care about peace, not war. Number two.
Can I say something about that? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
I'm just trying to learn. So in the gospel, you're bringing up peacemakers, right? That's better than peacekeepers. That's legitimately, I'm going out to seek peace. What is Donald going to do, and what does he promise to get us away from World War III?
Yeah, exactly. So you must first come from the intent, which Trump has, and he's well on the record, that war is not something to flippantly throw around as a cheap negotiating tactic or bargaining chip. War is the worst thing we can do. And I feel as if Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, John Bolton, Leon Panetta, the people that Kamala Harris has now surrounded herself with, that were the architects and the authors of the Iraq War, they're very flippant about war. They don't seem to be concerned about the suffering, the death, the casualty, the spending, the PTSD, the veterans issues. I mean, war is the worst thing that human beings can do. It's the worst expression.
The people make money off of doing it.
They make a lot of money off of it, and I think it's even deeper than that. I think it's a death cult.
So how do we?
So blessed are the peacemakers. Donald Trump will then, before he is president, because Zelensky's already coming to the table, he'll put Putin at the table and Zelensky at the table, and he'll say, "You're not going to get everything you want. You're not going to get anything you want. This ends right now. Mr. Putin, you probably get a portion of eastern Ukraine. Zelensky, stop saber rattling. You're not going to NATO. We're not going to have a couple 100,000 more civilians needlessly dead. This is done. This is over." America is strong enough to broker that deal today because, George, this is what's so important, is that there was a peace deal on the table that would have prevented the Russian-Ukrainian war 5 days into the conflict. Your audience can fact check me on this. This was in Istanbul, Turkey. Tony Blinken and Boris Johnson went to Istanbul, Turkey, and they obliterated the peace deal that was on the table between Zelensky and Putin because they said, no, we will not negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Well, now we have to negotiate with him, and that was the wrong decision, and hundreds of thousands of people needlessly died. So blessed are the peacemakers. I can go deep into that, but it's a peace through strength posture, where Trump is unafraid to project American strength, not weakness, but he is trying to seek conciliation. What America gets is what America wants. We are still the strongest country in the world. It's not China, it's not Russia. We're still the world reserve currency status. We have the greatest military, most aircraft carriers. We don't have the most nuclear weapons, that's Russia, but we still kind of call the shots.
Hey, man.
Well, no, I mean,
I don't know if you know this. That's a big weapon, dude.
No, it is. We have a lot of nuclear weapons, but at some point, 20,000 versus 10,000.
Where did they get this, and how did they get this so quick?
Well, the Soviet Union spent tons of money on developing an internal intercontinental ballistic missile nuclear warhead program, starting in the 80s and 90s. And I mean, it's not the 80s, I'm sorry, the 60s and 70s, and then it culminated in the 80s and 90s. But anyway, we have a bunch of nuclear weapons. They do too. And almost every metric, though, what America wants. If we demand peace, we will get peace. Right now, the American Foreign Policy Project thinks that Putin is the worst person ever. I don't like Putin. You don't like Putin. Is he like the warmonger of... Is he like the most evil person since Adolf Hitler? I don't think so, actually. I think he's a thug and he's a gangster that is morally equivalent with most kind of Eastern European thugs, to be perfectly honest.
How did you feel about the Tucker Carlson interview then?
I thought it was fine. I learned a lot. I mean, here's Putin, a guy that controls a country of 12 time zones, the largest landmass in the country. It's an incredibly diverse country. It's like 10 or 15% Muslim. You have a lot of different mafioso, post-Soviet influences. It's not an easy country.